Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. You know, relationships, they can be tricky. Today we're diving into a topic that's both intriguing and eye-opening. We're talking about the 8 signs she's tempted to cross the line, and her ring won't stop her. We're just here to have an honest conversation about relationships and offer some helpful insights. So let's get started. Chapter 1. The Case of the Disappearing Phone. Picture this. You're on the couch, enjoying a show, and your partner's phone is glued to her hand, hidden from view. It's a scene that might seem all too familiar. You glance over, and there it is, the phone, almost like an extension of their arm, always present but never fully visible. We've all been there, but when it becomes a constant game of hide and seek, those alarm bells should start to chime. It's not just a one-off thing. It's a pattern that starts to emerge. You begin to notice the subtle ways they shield the screen or the quick movements to put the phone away when you enter the room. It's not just about physical secrecy. It's about vague answers when you ask about a text message. You ask a simple question, and instead of a straightforward answer, you get a roundabout explanation that leaves you more confused than before. It's these little things that start to add up. Trust your gut, folks. It's usually right. That uneasy feeling in the pit of your stomach isn't just paranoia, it's your intuition picking up on something that's off. Your instincts are there for a reason, and they often sense things before your mind fully comprehends them. Now, I'm not saying that every time someone hides their phone, they're planning a secret rendezvous. There could be a myriad of reasons for their behavior. Maybe they're planning a surprise for you, or perhaps they're dealing with something personal that they're not ready to share yet. But a sudden increase in secrecy, especially with communication, is a sign something's going on. It's the change in behavior that's key here. If they were always open before and now they're not, that's when you need to pay attention. The key here is communication. It's the foundation of any strong relationship. Without it, misunderstandings and mistrust can easily take root and grow. If you notice your partners become more secretive, don't jump to conclusions. It's easy to let your mind run wild with worst-case scenarios, but that won't help anyone. Instead, sit down, have an open and honest conversation. Approach the topic with empathy and understanding. Let them know how you feel without accusing them of anything. Share your concerns. Listen to their side of the story. It's a two-way street. They might have a perfectly reasonable explanation that you hadn't considered. Remember, relationships are built on trust, and trust thrives on transparency. The more open and honest you are with each other, the stronger your bond will be. Chapter 2. The Makeover Mystery. Let's talk about makeovers. When your partner, who used to live in sweatpants, suddenly transforms into a fashion icon, it's natural to wonder what's behind the change. Pay attention to the details. Is she obsessed with a new style that reminds you of someone else? Spending hours picking out outfits for simple trips? These could be signs she's trying to catch someone's eye. It's not about accusing her of anything. It's about understanding the motivation behind the change. Compliment her. Let her know you've noticed her efforts. And if you're feeling up to it, suggest a shopping spree together. The couple that shops together stays together. Chapter 3. The Social Media Siren. Social media can be a real trap. If your partner, who usually spends 5 minutes a day on social media, suddenly transforms into an influencer, it's natural to raise an eyebrow. Pay attention to her online interactions. Is she constantly liking and commenting on a particular person's posts? Tagging herself in mysterious locations? These could be signs she's seeking validation from someone outside the relationship. Now, I'm not saying that every online interaction is a threat, but a sudden surge in social media activity, especially with new connections, can be a red flag. Instead of snooping, have an open conversation about your concerns. Talk about setting healthy boundaries with social media. Chapter 4. The Intimacy Ice Age. Let's talk about intimacy. It's the glue that holds relationships together, the spark that keeps the fire burning. But what happens when that spark starts to fade? Every relationship goes through its ups and downs. It's a natural part of being with someone. But sometimes those downs can feel like they're lasting forever. When the passion fades and intimacy dries up, it's like trying to start a fire with wet matches. The warmth and connection you once felt seem impossible to rekindle. If your partner, who used to be all over you, suddenly becomes distant, avoiding physical touch and emotional vulnerability, it's natural to wonder what's going on. You might feel confused, hurt, or even rejected. Pay attention to the little things. Sometimes the smallest changes can be the biggest indicators of a deeper issue. Does she shy away from your touch? Avoid eye contact? These subtle cues can speak volumes about her emotional state. Seem disinterested in your day? It's not just about the physical distance. Emotional distance can be just as telling. These could be signs she's emotionally checked out. When someone is emotionally distant, it can feel like they're a million miles away, even if they're sitting right next to you. Remember, there could be other factors at play. Stress, personal issues, or external pressures can all impact intimacy. But if the intimacy ice age lasts longer than a winter in Antarctica, it's time to have a heart-to-heart conversation. Communication is key. Don't let the silence grow. Talk openly and honestly about your needs and desires. It's the first step to thawing the ice and reigniting the passion in your relationship. Chapter 5: The Mysterious New Friend. Let's talk about friends. Friends are an essential part of our lives, providing support, joy, and companionship. They are the people we turn to in times of need and celebration. When your partner suddenly starts mentioning a new friend a lot, it's like finding an unexpected guest at your dinner table. This new presence can be intriguing, but it can also raise questions. You can't help but wonder, who invited them? What role do they play in your partner's life? Are they just a friend? Or is there something more? Pay attention to how she talks about this new friend. Notice the enthusiasm in her voice, the sparkle in her eyes, and the way she lights up when she mentions their name. Does her face light up when she mentions their name? Is there a noticeable excitement that wasn't there before? Does she constantly compare you to them? This can be a subtle but telling sign that something might be amiss. Does she make excuses to spend time with them? Is she suddenly busier than usual with plans that don't include you? These could be signs her feelings might be crossing a line. It's important to be aware of these changes and address them early. Now, I'm not saying that every close friendship is a threat. Friendships are vital and can coexist with romantic relationships. But if your partner seems more invested in this new friendship than in your relationship, it's time to have a conversation. Communication is key. Address your concerns openly and honestly. Express your concerns, listen to her perspective, and try to understand the nature of this friendship. Together, you can navigate this situation and strengthen your relationship. Chapter 6: The Walls Are Closing In. Let's talk about defensiveness. When your partner becomes defensive at the mere mention of your concerns, it's like trying to have a rational conversation with a brick wall. Pay attention to her reactions. Does she shut down the conversation, deflect blame, accuse you of being controlling, jealous, or insecure? These could be signs she's trying to protect herself or something else from scrutiny. Now, I'm not saying that defensiveness always equals guilt. Sometimes people get defensive because they feel attacked or misunderstood. But if defensiveness becomes a pattern, it's time to address the elephant in the room. Open and honest communication is crucial. Chapter 7: The Vanishing Act. Let's talk about disappearances. When your partner starts pulling disappearing acts without a reasonable explanation, it's natural to feel concerned. Pay attention to her patterns. Does she suddenly have urgent work meetings, endless doctor's appointments, solo trips to visit distant relatives? These could be signs she's creating space for someone else. Now, I'm not saying that every unexplained absence is a sign of infidelity, but if disappearances become more frequent and elaborate, it's time to have a serious conversation. Trust and transparency are key. Discuss your concerns and the future of your relationship. Chapter 8, The Fade Out. Let's talk about the slow fade. If your partner, who used to be your biggest cheerleader, suddenly seems distant and emotionally unavailable, it's natural to wonder if her heart is still in it. Pay attention to the little things. Does she seem bored when you talk? Forget important dates? Avoid spending quality time together? These could be signs her heart is no longer in the relationship. Remember, there could be other factors at play. But if the fade out is a recurring theme, it's time to have an honest conversation. Discuss your needs, expectations, and the future you envision together. Open communication is essential. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever experienced any of these signs in your own relationship? What advice would you give to others? Remember, communication and trust are key in any relationship. If you notice any of these signs, talk to your partner, express your concerns, and listen to their perspective. See you in the next video.